Hi, this is Gary Leslie. Today we have with us Kevin Doughtery of Forward Not Back, Central New Jersey. So first of all, thank you very much for coming.
Well, very happy to be here, Gary.
And could you tell us what is Forward Not Back, Central New Jersey?
It's a group that just came together very recently. We're still at the kind of building stage, fairly informal. But what really pulled us together was that we were quite concerned about kind of the reactionary vision that we saw being propagated by the new Trump administration and the Republican leadership on a whole variety of issues. When you think about education, immigration, climate change, the Health Care Act, economic justice. So we're very concerned about the positions they're taking and wanting to resist them. And we see the role of our organization as providing an opportunity for people to get good information on what's happening, opportunities to engage in action through our organization, and as important, connecting people to like-minded organizations that are often doing this work already. So we want to help people know about them and allow them to make those connections.
So you're just kind of starting to organize, right? Mm-hmm. Are you connected with statewide and or national organizations, or are you trying to?
We might get there eventually. Right now our focus is really local, and we're certainly we'll be thinking about statewide issues, and some of the organizations that we're talking about do operate on a statewide basis, like Citizen Action or Action Together. Central NJ is sort of operating at a statewide level. We're not really connected to anything formally nationally, and I don't think, while we want to be very mindful of national politics, that's not our prime concern right now. It's more local and statewide.
So what are some of the things that you're focusing on? What are some of the strategies that the organization is focusing on?
Well, to give you some idea of some of our activities, we're hosting a series of informational events to talk about what the issues are. People may have been aware of one that we held a few weeks back in Pinos. There was also another one at the library just this past week. But coming up on February 12th, we're going to be having another event at Pinos, and I'll give details about that in a second. March 11th, we'll have another one, an informational event. And what we're doing at these events is bringing in speakers, talking about various issues, particularly something like the what's going on with the Affordable Health Care Act, climate justice issues, but other things that we need to be thinking about as well. And in addition to these kind of public information events, we've been regularly involved in a weekly vigil that occurs at the office of U.S. Representative Leonard Lance in Westfield. He is a Republican who has pretty much signed on with the Republican positions with regard to health care, and we're there to protest what he's doing and to argue against his voting in favor of repeal. That's an ongoing
When you say ongoing,
we've been sending people every week, and it's going to be going on for a while. And what we're also doing is doing some canvassing in this area to find out who are voters who are interested in the issues and might be prepared to certainly pressure him in the short run, but also perhaps vote against him in the long run. But let me go back and tell you about the public event, these information events. The one coming up on February 12th is going to be quite interesting. We'll be having Congressman Frank Pallone come, and also Dina Matola-Jaborska, who's an Associate Director for New Jersey Citizen Action. They're going to be talking particularly about what's going on in Washington on the Affordable Health Care Act, but they're also going to be talking about the environment and climate change. And we're going to be prepared with short one-page flyers to talk about other issues, such as, for example, one that I'm particularly concerned about is the issue of economic justice and the effort to try to raise the minimum wage. So we'll be having two very interesting speakers at this event talking about a variety of issues. And one of the things we're going to be trying to do is begin to help people organize into more group-specific or more specific interests that they might have, kind of the notion of huddles that came out of the Women's March in Washington. So maybe huddles might be forming around particular issues, such as healthcare or climate change, or let's say the minimum wage, or people might want to huddle around a particular kind of function like communications. So those are the kinds of things we're thinking about now, but as you can think about, they're all evolving.
Right. So at this February 12th meeting, where we'll have, it's an informational meeting,
Right.
is that where you're going to start to try to break off into huddles, and so people will be able to go and have, I guess, little focus group type things for individual initiatives, and you can take it from there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I should mention this event at Pino's on the 12th is going to be from 4 to 6. So it's going to be, we hope, something that'll be interesting to a lot of people. A lot of people may want to come just simply because they have an interest. They might want to do things. They're not entirely sure what they might want to do. So it gives you an opportunity to find out what the issues are, find out what might interest you, find like-minded people, and then we're hoping that that will allow people to start clustering together.
Now the event on the 11th, the March 11th, is the same sort of thing?
It'll be the same kind of thing. They're changing from time to time in the sense that if it becomes very clear that there's very strong interest in something at this event coming up on the 12th this month, that might be something we'll feature at the next one. So the issues will probably change a little bit by bit. As new people join our organization and particularly want to say we should be focusing on this. As events occur in Washington or in the state that really indicate we should be maybe redirecting our attention a little bit in this direction, we'll do that as well.
You mentioned that this is a local organization. It's really not associated with a national movement. Who are the members that so far? I mean, do you have any idea about how many people are involved?
What's funny, we have an organizing committee that's just very informal that helped the effort start, and it's steadily increasing in size. We have a lot of people in other organizations that we're working with I think we'd want to count them as members to a degree. Then you think about the number of people that came to these public events. So the one at the library, I think, attracted, what was it, maybe 40 people. The event at Pino's, I think it was at least 60. We might want to count them as well as people were involved. But it isn't as if there's kind of an absolutely clear membership and not. This is all kind of evolving. And a lot of what we want to do is not just treat it as this organization, join this and it supersedes everything else. It's to say we would like to be working with other organizations, not necessarily reproducing what they're doing and helping get people interested in those. So organizations like Who's My Neighbor, No to War, they're already involved. The Brady group that's dealing with sort of gun control, there's a lot of ongoing activity that we don't want in any way supplant or take attention away from. If anything, allow people to know that they can get involved with them. So in that sense, to go back, it isn't like we have this absolutely fixed membership. It's something more fluid and open to what people want to do.
And it's growing as the organization is growing.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, a lot of us are just residents of Highland Park. Yes, a lot of us have been involved in these issues for a while, but some of us have not, and I think a lot of it is just the sense of an overwhelming need to do something in the face of what we're encountering coming from Washington, and also what we, to our disappointment, have seen has not been done in our own state. So it's that kind of precipitated us to come together.
I mean, there's so many things happening, both on a national basis and on a state basis.
Right.
It seems like it would be one of the first tasks it would seem that you have is to focus, and maybe those breakout groups are the ways of doing it. Just determine, which particular subcommittee will focus on what. That seems to be a difficult task in and of itself in terms of organization.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have to sort of figure out how to do it, but we're kind of very much of a mind. We don't want to concentrate too quickly and exclude a lot of people so that people think, oh, this is the only thing you can do, is to say, no, we're really quite open to a lot. And what's important is that we see ourselves much more as helping connect people to activity in other organizations, not that we are ourselves necessarily doing it and that people have to choose just what maybe the particular things we're talking about. And it will be evolving. And the huddles will be, I think, an important way in which people might be saying, maybe the bulk of people might be interested in doing this, but there's a clear cluster of us that are interested in this particular thing. We can form and do something with that in association with the rest of the group. So we really want to open up that opportunity. I know, for example, for myself, I have a very strong interest in the issues of what can we do to raise the minimum wage. I don't know how many people are interested in that. Perhaps a huddle might form around that, and then we can do something about that. Other people may be more interested in focusing on climate change, and that would be great. So we're hoping to accommodate a variety of interests, provide a degree of kind of mutual information and coordination, and not preclude people joining with a variety of interests.
Let me ask you a few questions about you, just to get to know you a little bit. How long have you been in Highland Park?
We've been here 24 years.
24 years.
Yeah.
And where were you before that?
We lived for a couple of years in Metuchen. We had just moved into New Jersey, and we're trying to get a sense of the lay of the land. My wife had taken a job in New Jersey. We were living in New York. We moved to Metuchen to get a sense of central New Jersey, found that we really liked Highland Park, moved here, and have been here ever since.
So what do you do in your day job, or your night job, as it turns out?
Right, my night job. So I teach at Columbia. I've been there since 2000, and had been teaching at a couple private liberal arts colleges before that. But I've been doing the commute into New York all this time.
What do you teach?
Education policy. I'm a sociologist by training, particularly focused on higher education. But a lot of my work is on educational policy with respect to higher education, but I pay some attention as well to K through 12 education.
Now let's get back to, you had mentioned that you have these, if we can get some more particulars about these upcoming meetings.
Sure.
It's 4 to 6, the event on the 12th is 4 to 6?
The 6 at Pino's on 4th Avenue.
And the one on March 11th?
Probably will be the same place, but we'll be sending out details about that later. I should point out that if people are interested in finding out more about our activities, we have a Facebook page under, Forward, Not Back, Central NJ, and we've been posting information on those events. There's also going to be a link to be able to communicate with us. And what we've been doing on that is not only putting down what we're going to be doing, but anything else that we're hearing about other organizations, which I should mention just so people get a sense of who we're trying to work with. We've been working with Citizen Action, particularly with reference to the vigils at Representative Lance's office. And a Citizen Action speaker will be at this event on February 12th. We've been talking with and working with people in the Brady Gun Control Group, Who's My Neighbor in Town, the No to War folks. Action Together Central NJ is another group that we've been in communication with. Particularly for the work in Leonard Lance's district, also been working with Westfield 2020, which is trying to get ready for the next election.
For the vigils.
Yeah, and mobilizing people in his district. And we're going to be reaching out as well to the NAACP, New Labor, and other groups. So we're still very early in trying to reach out to people, and we're very, very interested in what they're doing and how we can assist them. So it isn't just a matter of what can you do for us, but actually, if we get people energized, how can we maybe then connect those people to those groups and help their efforts?
In terms of specific goals, in terms of the next 6 months or so, what do you see as your what would you see as a personal success for this organization over the next half year?
I think a lot of it is, so many of us came out of the election deeply upset by what happened, and I think very easily depressed. I think what it is, a great success would be, is if we can turn that mood into one of activism and resistance and movement, and getting a lot of people to feel there is something you can do, that there are a lot of people who may share our sentiments but have not necessarily been involved in the past, getting them involved, or they were involved in a more distant time, being able to do it. It's amazing to see what the Tea Party was able to do in organizing and providing, a very effective movement. We'd like to be able to do the same. It's going to take organizing over time. It's not entirely clear how that's going to happen. But the early signs of, when you think about all the people that showed up in Washington, New York for the marches after the presidential inauguration, the people have shown up at our own events. There's a tremendous wellspring of kind of desire to do something. And If we can assist that, and if that can continue over time, not just something that occurs right now, that'll be wonderful. And we've got to think for the long haul. It's not just 6 months, but it's the midterm elections. What can we do then? And eventually, what are we going to do 4 years from now? Because that's going to be crucial. Can we do a lot now and build towards having Trump lose the next election?
So one more time, if people want to go to Facebook,
So it's Forward Not Back Central NJ. Our information will be there, and we would very much welcome any suggestions they might have for activities, organizations for us to think about, and anything we can do.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you.